How's it going, everybody? Chadley here, and today we have probably one of my favorite Amara builds I've ever done. We've done a couple here on the channel, but my favorite part about this build is that it can do absolutely anything you throw at it. You can do takedown, true takedown, mobbing, bossing, seriously, whatever. And on top of that, this is the guns it uses. You just don't see these in any sort of builds right now. The Hellshock definitely a lot more since its recent buff and the conference call. But other than that, if you guys saw my video yesterday showing off the wagon wheel and how good it is, this is basically what this build is based on and how we came up with the name Wheel of Pain Amara. But this is going to be your main gun for mobbing, and there's some bosses, as long as there's beefy enemies around the boss, this can just destroy them. Otherwise, you're going to have to pull out like the conference call or Hellshock, and in some cases the Firestorm if you guys want to kill a flesh target. But otherwise, yeah, you guys are going to be using a wagon wheel. We have 100% ASE on here. I definitely think this is the best anointment for it right now on this build. Maybe if they fix Amara's radiation anointments, it might be a little bit better with the more projectiles, but it's not fixed right now. So I can't test it, and 100% ASE I think is the best option. That's going to be the case for all of these weapons. So then we have the Firestorm. I love this sniper. This thing is so good. Everybody's just been kind of talking about the Krakatoa lately, but this thing destroys and it's a lot of fun. It really reminds me of like the original Volcano on steroids. So definitely a really good gun. You guys can trade this out for the Storm if you guys are fighting like shielded targets, or if you guys have the Wedding Invitation and truly just want to just go insane with damage. That's also another good option. And then the Hellshock. This thing doesn't care about anything. If you're shooting an armored target, it doesn't care. You can use the shock one and you're just going to tear through it. This is actually what I use on the Valkyries. I don't even bother with the conference call on them because they're pretty small targets that move a lot. The Hellshock is more than enough. In True Takedown, you can get them through their to their immune phases in less than 2 clips, so definitely a really good option there. And then I use a corrosive conference call. This is for Wotan. The upper half is definitely pretty hard to hit with the Hellshock. This does do pretty well against it when you can hit it, but the conference call definitely does better, and it is just overall better for Wotan compared to the Hellshock. Except for the shield phases, I would use the Hellshock on Wotan for there. But then our shield, we are going to be using a transformer. I use bonus shock on it basically all the time. I still have a level 50 version, and you still don't really run into problems that often with this build. And then for our grenade, I like to use its piss. It's probably my favorite grenade in the game right now. Grenades kind of suck, and just getting 20% bonus damage on an enemy is always nice, especially since we're using ties that bind. And if you its piss somebody in your ties that bind, it's going to travel to everybody else, so that's also a really good way to kill large groups, especially tough enemy groups. And then our class mod, we're going to be using a Phase Zerker. I have nowhere near a perfect version. Anima and Conflux are probably your 2 best skills in there. And then otherwise, kind of build around these weapons, whichever one you want to be stronger, try to get those passives. Otherwise, I just have 25% weapon damage. That's the only thing helping me out there. And then for our artifact, we're going to be using a Snowdrift Victory Rush. Since we're not using a driver, we are going to be moving pretty slow, so we do need to slide fast. Movement speed is definitely very underrated. It's one of the most important things, I think, for the takedown and just in general surviving. So that's why I really like the Snowdrift. And then the Victory Rush is going to give us some more damage. And then otherwise, the passives on this one kind of suck. The only one that's going to help us is shock damage. But going on to our skills, we're going to be going all the way down the blue tree. So we're going to do 5 points into do harm. It's going to help out our ties that bind. Fast hands, we're going to be reloading a lot. The wagon wheel does not have a very big magazine, so we're going to need to be able to just keep shooting, and the less time we spend reloading, the more time we can spend doing damage. Then we're going to do 1 point into Violent Tapestry, just for that extra effect chance. And then 3 points into Alacrity, and 3 points into Transcend. And that's going to bring us down to the 4th tier here. In an ideal world, I would only put 2 points into here so we could get a 3rd into Awakening, but we do need that 1 extra point. So we're just going to put it in there and get even more reload speed. But moving down, Laid Bare, 3 points into there, and 3 points into Wrath. Then we're going to do 1 point into From Rest. We do have 2 guns that use charge time, and this skill has like a diminishing return. So I just like to put 1 skill in there, and we get the 21% bonus charge speed, which is really nice. 1 point into Remnant. Now, a lot of our guns aren't like super overkill damaging weapons, but with Ties That Bind, you can sometimes kill people for several million damage, and the orb will go around. I think I've seen like upwards of 13, 14 million from the Remnant orbs, and that's while using the Wagon Wheel. So definitely a really good skill there. Also, it's going to heal you while you're using the Wagon Wheel, so definitely a very great skill to have 1 point into. And then 2 points into Awakening. This is going to boost our do harm, so we can do even more damage with Ties That Bind. And then 1 point into Avatar for more rush stacks, and we can activate our action skill twice. Also, our augment, I should mention, is Soul Sap. This is going to allow us to heal on the Phase Graph's target, even if there's no enemies in the ties. You can just shoot the Wagon Wheel, and you're going to get health back. Otherwise, we're going to move on to our Fist of the Elements skill tree. We're going to put 5 points into Anima, 5 points into Tempest. Those are very great skills to have. 3 points into Steady Hands, and 1 point into Dread. Now at this point, you have 1 point to get down to the next tier. You can do 1 point in Wildfire. I'm not a huge Wildfire fan, so I do just put 1 point into Infusion, so we get more projectiles out of our Wagon Wheel. And also, it doesn't really hurt our damage at all. It's only 8%. So if you guys are pulling out like the conference call and stuff, you're not really going to notice a difference to the damage to like Wotan or any other armor target. Whatever you're using on, you're not really going to notice a difference. So it's just nice to put 1 point into there. But then Indiscriminate, an amazing skill. We're going to put 3 points into there. 1 point into Deep Well is going to help out our elemental weapons. And then 1 point into Catharsis. Now we are using Shock as our element, so our Transformer is going to heal on an explosion on there. And then also our health will heal from Sustainment if an enemy gets affected by Catharsis, if the explosion hits a nearby enemy. So that's also helpful because we need as much healing as we can with the Wagon Wheel, as it's not an elemental weapon. And then 2 points into Sustainment. This is really all you need. And that's going to allow us to put 3 points into Personal Space. This skill is insane if you guys aren't aware. It does more than 36% that it says on the card. And this distance between enemies, you can probably be 20 to 30 feet from the enemy before you actually get that 36%. If you're right up on the enemy, I believe it's upwards of it's in the 40s to 50%, somewhere around there. This skill is seriously broken in a good way, so definitely we're putting 3 points into there. But yeah, that's about it for our guns and skills. Otherwise, some other guns you can use. If you guys want to use a redistributor, you can. I do like the Hyper Focus, I just don't have the best one. Cutsman's always good. Queen and King's Calls are always good. If you guys don't really have trouble surviving, you can use the one-shotter and just try to get as much damage as possible. But the Transformer and how much damage you're just naturally doing with this is plenty. Don't worry about it. And then we also have another It's Piss with Incendiary, so you guys can swap those out as you need. Otherwise, let's just go ahead and travel over to Athena's, and we'll just run through and I can show you guys how to play this build and its strengths. All right, we're over here at Athena's, and we're just gonna run through. Now with this build, we can do the fake cast to keep our action skill and stuff up, but otherwise we are going to be using Ties That Bind like all the time. If you guys don't while using the Wagon Wheel, you're probably going to die. Otherwise, this gun just shreds. If you guys want to see this weapon a little bit more in depth, I made a video on it yesterday. You guys can go check that out. It seriously just destroys. I've killed Wotan's upper half during the split with this gun and Ties That Bind. It's a little insane. Also, we've one-shot the Kraken. Well, 2 shots on the Kraken. You guys saw that at the end of the montage at the beginning of the video. But otherwise, this gun and this build just destroys. And it's personally one of my favorites. I love all the different guns because these guns, nobody really uses that much. I think the Conference Call is by far the most used. And now recently, the Hellshock is definitely being used a lot more, but still, it's a good weapon to be using now that it's been buffed. And otherwise, the Firestorm, I love this thing. It does so much damage over time and just damage. Another weird thing with this Firestorm, so there's a weird interaction with Indiscriminate and Infusion and this Firestorm. Sometimes you guys will see right there, we have the orbs from the storm. And it's even weirder because they don't actually do like a Tesla thing that much. They have these like little red lines and they do very little damage, but then they explode. It's very bizarre. I'm not sure why that happens, but that is something that you guys might see with this build. I haven't tested it yet, but I'm sure if you have the fire action skill element on and then you're using the storm, you might get the fire meteors that the firestorm creates. So if you guys want to test that out, you're more than welcome to. But otherwise, you guys can see how much damage this firestorm does. I have destroyed Trant in just a couple seconds with it. It's a good time. If you guys want to do other bossing, especially like flesh targets, definitely get a fire version of this gun with the 100% ASC, and you guys will be good to go. You will melt through every flesh boss in the game, especially the big ones like Tyrene and Graveward, stuff like that. All right, we're over here at Trant. We're just gonna kill him with the health shot because it's definitely like one of the fastest ways we can do it. Otherwise, you can do that and shoot his little backpack if he stops moving. Otherwise, you can kill him in one clip if you can manage to hit all the crits. Obviously, that's a little tough here on Trant, but regardless, it's a super easy fight. Just point and click, super easy. So yeah, that's really gonna do it for this build. I seriously do love this build. It is a ton of fun to use. So definitely, if you guys are on PC, go download the save file. Otherwise, on console, in the Discord channel that we have, there's tons of trading channels. Definitely go check those out. People can hit you up with some gear. Otherwise, that's gonna do it for this video. So thank you guys very much for watching this build video. If you guys want to see me build these builds live, we do it over on Twitch basically every single night. So definitely go drop a follow over there. Check it out if you like. I would love to see you guys over there. Otherwise, make sure to hit that like button. If you enjoyed this build, make sure to subscribe if you guys want to see more Borderlands content. And I will catch you guys in the next one. See ya.